FaceTime MMA and UFC 329 coming at you live. It's International Fight Week. And it's one of those rare fight weeks where there's no belt, but Conor McGregor said it best. He is the belt. The prelims will be starting at 1 a.m., which is probably not what you and I want to hear, because what about sleep? But anyway, it is a very stacked card. There's obviously names that are not familiar to me, and there's names that I know pretty well. So without wasting further ado, let's get into it. Luke Riley's going to take on Kai Kamaka. Cody Garbrandt is still fighting, ladies and gentlemen. He's taking on Adrian Yanez. Two veterans getting into it. We are seeing the debut of Gable Stevenson, and he's taking on Elisha Ellison. Kind of feels like a tune-up fight, but I'm not going to complain. Nikita Krylov is taking on Robert Whittaker, and there are actually early prelims as well, where they are headlined by Tracy Cortez. So, yes, prelims. Robert Whittaker making his light heavyweight debut. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but this is the fight business. And the main card will be starting at 3 a.m. where, wow, Conor freaking McGregor is back. The Mac is back and is taking on the former BMF Max Blast Holloway. And then the co-main will be BSD versus Paddy Pimblett. Corey Sandhagen obviously taking on Mario Bautista. Brandon Royval taking on Lona Kavanagh, which is no easy task. King Green versus Terrence McKinney. That is not getting out of the first round, but yes, getting into the fight. The prelim card, I'm just going to go straight through it, so forgive me. Luke Riley versus Kai Kamaka. Unfortunately, I've never seen any of these two gentlemen fight, so I will not be lying to you guys. Cody No Love Garbrandt, former bantamweight champion, still around. Not sure what happened to his form, but as a former champion, he's still getting the love and respect that he deserves. And yes, he's taking on Adrian Yanez. Again, probably have seen one or two fights. Gable Stevenson was in the PFL, if not Bellator, I believe. I never know which one is which. He's taking on Elisha Ellison. Like I said, I feel like it's a tune-up fight. Gable Stevenson training with John Jones, 21-year-old gold medalist, champion at wrestling, and it's either the lights are going to be too bright or he's just going to show why he is the next big thing. He's 3-0 and probably going to make headways in the heavyweight division where there's really not a lot going on. Robert Whittaker is taking on Nikita Krylov. Robert Whittaker, former middleweight champion. I'm not sure how I feel about his move, but I will never count out Robert Whittaker. Nikita Krylov has 42 fights to his name, and he has fought and beaten the who's of the light heavyweight division. And Robert Whittaker will never give up on himself. His chin has been classy for a really long time lately, but I'm just hoping it can hold up. And we are in for a treat. That is your prelims done and dusted. Moving on to the main card. Big international fight week, and King Green opening up the main card, taking on Terrence. But their fights, I mean, King Green coming in, having beaten Jeremy Stevens, having beaten Daniel Zellhuber. I don't know how he did that, but he did it, and I hope Daniel Zellhuber learns and comes back from this. And then King Green also beat Gibson Jr. King Green is on a 3-fight win streak. I don't know, that spinning kick that landed on him against Mauricio Hufi just woke up something. Yeah, I saw an interesting stat about Terrence McKinney. He's never been to a decision. UFC, no UFC or whatever, and it's crazy. He's knocked out Gunnar Nelson. He was submitted by Chris Duncan. He's submitted Borishev. And the list goes on and on about McKinney not going to a decision. He's either going to get knocked out or knock someone out or submit them. It's incredible. And for this fight, I'm going to go... It's a tough one. I'm going to go Terrence McKinney by submission, because King Green has zero ground game, or Paddy Pimblett is just fantastic on the ground. So Brandon Royval, last time he fought Manel Kape, got knocked out by Manel Kape. I mean, after that war with Joshua Van, I don't know, man. Royval needs a big win, and it's no easy night out. I mean, you took out Tatsuro Taira, and it's just going to be interesting to see because this is such an interesting matchup. Lona Kavanagh is no slouch. I used to think that he was a slouch, which I was greatly mistaken. He's taken out Brendan Moreno. He's taken out Charles Johnson. Oh, I'm lying. Charles Johnson took him out because we know Charles Johnson, you put him against a prospect, he's going to win. So Lona Kavanagh is one of the stars in the UFC that they're trying to make. I mean, he's only lost one since he came into the UFC. One more win against an established opponent like Brendan Royval, and he's in the mix to fight for the title next. So I'm going Lona Kavanagh because of his momentum, but Brendan Royval knows that he needs a big win, and I wouldn't be surprised if he delivers. Corey Sandhagen is taking on Mario Baptista. Corey Sandhagen, one of the greatest strikers we've seen in the bantamweight division. He last took on Merab. I don't know why they made that fight. I'm kidding, he was next. Yeah, he got out wrestled and dominated because that's what Merab does. Knocked out Figueiredo, but if memory serves me right, Figgy got injured in that fight. Had a very interesting fight against Umar Nurmagomedov. He was surviving the wrestling from Dagestan, so that was pretty interesting and nice to see. You can argue that he's a decision fighter, but Corey Sandhagen is he's a nerd. He's a fighting nerd. He's an actual fighting nerd where he loves fighting, he understands fighting, and he is just going to continue pressuring until he drowns you in that pressure. Is taking on a forever game Mario Baptista, who is also on a bit of a tear. I mean, he took out Pechi Mix like it was nothing. Pechi Mix looked so bad that his second fight was already out of the UFC. He lost against Umar Nurmagomedov, because who doesn't lose to a Nurmagomedov unless you are named Marab? And he took out Oliveira via submission. So Bautista is also in the mix. Bantamweight, okay, got my weights wrong, but yes, bantamweight division. He's also a player in there, ranked 7th, wins against Corey, and he can start to ask for fights. Paddy Pimblett coming off that devastating loss against the now UFC lightweight champion Dustin the Highlight Gaethje. Paddy has been on a tear before this. He's beaten the brakes off Michael Chandler, submitted King Green, beat the brakes off Tony Ferguson, took out Flash Gordon, and yeah, he's just been on a tear. And I think the Justin Gaethje fight was actually the first time he lost in the UFC, which goes to tell you just how good he is. But he's taking on a man that's so dangerous since he lost against Moicano. I don't know, man. He lost that fight against Renato Moicano, and let me just name the names that he's taken since then. He's beaten Prepolek by submission. He took out Maurizio Hufi, who's on a tear right now, via submission. Knocked out Benil Dariush. TKO'd Dan Hooker with one of the most devastating ground and pounds that I've ever seen in a really long time. So it's not going to be an easy night for Paddy, and history tells us that you are just not the same after you face Justin Gaethje. You're just not the same after you face Justin Gaethje. But I think Paddy bounces back from this, and I will take Paddy for him to win. And doubling back to Corey and Mario, I think Corey wins via decision. His striking is just too good. And getting into the main event of the evening, the greatest comeback in sports combat history. Conor freaking McGregor, the former simultaneous featherweight and lightweight champion, is back. Whether you like it or not, he did it first. Did you do it first? Yes, he did it first. As much as he didn't defend and they always knock him against that, it's still the Mac, and he's taking on and always game, always dangerous. One of the best strikers in the UFC, one of the best boxers in the UFC, Max Blessed Holloway. Now, McGregor hasn't been in the octagon for 5 years, which is insane because the competition moves on so quickly and the environment changes so quickly. It's going to be interesting to see how he handles the coming back, especially at welterweight division where he shouldn't be cutting too much weight. He's given us classics against Nurmagomedov, Khabib versus Eddie Alvarez, the 2 fights with Nate Diaz, knocking out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds, and the list just keeps going and going. And before he became what he is now, Conor McGregor is arguably one of the best strikers in the UFC. He has crazy knockout power for days in the first 2 rounds and sometimes can carry that power over. And the way that he moves in the octagon is something that needs to be studied in universities and highlight reels and museums and whatever you want to say. That's just how good he is. He is taking on a knockout artist in Max Holloway, a volume artist, a former featherweight champion, a former BMF champion, a man that is never in a boring fight. Of course, he dropped that fight to Oliveira because Oliveira decided to wrestle, and we had that whole debacle of what's supposed to happen in a BMF title match, but it is what it is. Took Dustin Poirier to a unanimous decision where he actually knocked Poirier down, and he also got knocked down. Lost to Poirier because there was a time where everyone was just losing to Poirier. Knocked out Justin Gaethje with one of probably the greatest knockouts you'll ever see in MMA history. Took out, I almost said the leech, took out the Korean Zombie, and again, I can go on and on about how Max is incredible. Never really got the hump over Volkanovski, but yes, we're in for a treat. I think 5 years is just too long for inactivity, but also we've been surprised so many times this year. But 5 years against someone who enjoys being in 5-round fights. I mean, let me just name some of the last fight, 5 rounds. Poirier, 5 rounds. Topuria versus Holloway, 3 rounds. Gaethje versus Holloway, 5 rounds. Versus Zhang, 3 rounds. Versus Allen, 5 rounds. Versus Holloway. Can't believe I just said Holloway. Versus Volk, 5 rounds. Versus Yair Rodriguez, 5 rounds. Versus Calvin Kate, 5 rounds. So it's, I don't know. There just has to be a knockout in this fight, and I think Max is going to knock out Conor McGregor, and I don't think a lot of us are still going to be surprised. Conor McGregor still carries the star power that he has been carrying since he got to the UFC. Can't wait to watch him come back, but we are all asking the same question. Why is he coming back? You've done everything. You have nothing left to prove, and especially coming off the injury that you just suffered, is it really worth it to come back? But never question the Mac. We'll see what happens when he pulls up. Let me know what you guys think. Peace and love. Subscribe. See you on the next one.